Welcome to the Debi and Dr. Rob Show. This is a bonus episode where we're interviewing another fabulous expert in the personal training industry. Her name is Julia Broome. She is the founder of Mind to Size. That's MIND-TO-size. And she is a certified personal trainer. She is a group exercise instructor, yoga instructor, and among others, she is also a student at the Academy of Jungian Spiritual Psychology, which is why we would love to interview her today, because she has so much to share about her journey in Jungian psychology, what led her to do what she does now, and her aspirations for what she's going to create in her new business. And I just can't wait to share that with you. She's currently bringing her into her business a deeper aspect of working with the mind in order to unify the mind with the body to achieve lasting results in health and fitness, hence the company name Mind to Size. I think you're going to really enjoy this conversation I had with Julia. If you are ever thought about losing weight, going on one of those crash diets, she has some insight for you that you don't want to miss. This is the Debi and Dr. Rob Show. You are in the right place if you are tired of the basic self-help and you're ready for a higher level of teaching in neuroscience, Jungian psychology, and Eastern wisdom. We offer world-class personal development and coach training for evolving women entrepreneurs to help you go to the next level of growth in success, relationships, and living your purpose. So let's get started. Well, welcome, Julia Broome, to our show. It's so great to be here. You are the founder of Mind to Size and also almost a Jungian certified life coach. So really excited to talk to you today. And how are you doing today?
Good. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's really good to be here.
And what part of the world are you in?
I live in New York City.
Oh, wow. Very cool. And tell us a little bit about your current career, where you are. I mean, very interesting what you used to do for a living. Not a common thing that people do, women do, but I'd love to have a little background on what you used to do and where you are now.
Yes, very, very interesting. I'm coming out of being a commercial diver. And for those of you who don't know what that is, it's basically construction underwater. And yeah, you're right that not many women choose that path. And to be honest, I kind of chose that more from a place of just needing to prove to what I thought the world at the time that I was tough and able-bodied and could do all these things, and turned out I could, but it was it didn't really, after spending some time actually coaching with you guys, I quickly discovered that it wasn't the path that I really was my true desire, what I really wanted to pursue. So it was amazing. I had really cool experiences. I got to weld underwater and work offshore, and it was really cool, but definitely I'm in a new headspace though.
Awesome. And you are doing personal training.
Yes.
And tell us a little about that transition. Why are you so passionate about the body and personal training? You must have had to be in shape to do all that welding underwater.
Well, I've been a personal trainer actually for 11 years, and I've always had, even if I wasn't doing it full time, I was always either training family members, my mom especially, or just side clients. And so it's always been a passion of mine, I think particularly because when I was 8 years old, my father had a heart attack and it killed him. And yeah, so it was such a radical experience in that my whole life, my exercise, my diet, everything was just turned upside down, because after he died, my mom had my brother and myself tested for our cholesterol levels, and it turns out mine was in the super danger range. So I had to really we had to modified our way of life. And I think because of that experience, or at least in part, have always been really drawn to health in general, but specifically exercise and being strong and healthy. So I think that was when I first moved to New York, I was training. I trained at Equinox for a number of years, and that was a really great experience. But I wanted to make more money. And so I went into construction, but now, especially with working with you guys, I've realized, oh no, I can actually make money and do what I love and incorporate some of these deeper elements. So it's kind of full circle, really.
Yeah, it's so important because I think a lot of people think of getting a personal trainer so they can physically look good. It's beach weather, body, and health too, but they don't realize that you really have to your body is so important. I mean, if you don't have your body, where else are you going to go? And that even a healthy person that looks, thin on the outside can actually be unhealthy. So we want to make sure that health is really important. I mean, if you don't have your body, like I said, there's nowhere else to go from there. And then when you had done our Evolve program, our leadership program, and what drew you to our work in the first place, Jungian Psychology? What was it about it that drew you to this type of work?
Oh man, it's so let's say I initially was drawn to you guys to meet a guy, and the deeper I got in with the work, the more I realized just how incredible it is, in that it has changed my I would say my entire life. It's been in so many different ways, but it really, initially, that's what drew me to you guys. And because honestly, I had no idea who Jung was or anything. I studied psychology and sociology in college, and I really enjoyed studying these, about these concepts, but I don't know, somehow I just didn't know about Jung, or if I did, it was in some kind of way where he was so hard to read and understand, but the way that you guys present the material is so ingestible, if you will, that it just made it easy to work with it.
And then you decided to do our coach training, which you're beginning, and that is how you're going to incorporate the psychology into the stuff about fitness. And I think that is such a unique way to blend the work. I mean, one of the things we love about our certification is that you're not going to be a carbon copy of every student in the room. Everyone's going to have their own individual business that's so different based on the core concepts, but also looks very different on the outside. And so you'll be doing, in essence, sports psychology. Right.
And I love that so much because it can be applied to any field really, but specifically for me, I really do believe that this is the missing link for my clients, because it's so defeating whenever you have someone coming to you with something so not only physical but very emotional, and an issue such as weight or health or even being fit. It's so important. I mean, fitness and health and fitness is a $1 billion industry, but yet if you look at obesity rates, they go up every single year, and especially in the United States, but also in other countries. I just read last night, actually, that none, even if they haven't gone up, they haven't gone down either. So it's something that we spend a ton of money on, but we're not getting better at it. And just based on the change that I've seen in my life, I mean, it's gonna change how my clients feel. It's going to change the whole program, and everything that they're looking to achieve is just going to come with much more ease. It's not going to be just like this uphill battle that it always, has been, really.
I always think of weight loss. I used to do my early days. I started out as a hypnotherapist and did lots of weight loss and smoking. And a lot of people think that if you just have to have the willpower to
yes,
go to the gym and eat right, and you have to be disciplined with yourself. but that unconscious mind is going to sabotage. Even if you lose weight, you'll gain it back if you're not getting to the root of the psychological reason why you're not keeping your body in shape. And when I say in shape, it's not to have a size 0 body. It's really to have a healthy body.
Right. Definitely.
And so when you work with people, what do you think their biggest psychological obstacle is with their getting to the workouts with you, staying with the program, eating right?
That's such an interesting question because I guess it varies a little bit, but for the most part, I think really, because I've been spending a lot of time thinking about this, I really do think that when it comes down to it, many people, I think that they don't feel that anything's really ever going to work. And I think the reason for that is they've done a lot of different diets, a lot of different exercise routines. They've probably spent a lot of money on it, and they've been cracking at it for a handful of years, 10, 20, and the older they get, just the worse it gets. So I think that a lot of people are very skeptical because the chances are when they come to me, this isn't their first time. It's not they have, I really do think that they're just very, it's so clear. It's such a mind thing because if it weren't, then, it would be had. So I just think, seeing it for themselves, I think is a big thing.
Yeah. I guess if you don't really believe you can achieve it, there's not a motivator to do it. And I've seen a lot of people, it's just like anything that people try to create, whether it's starting a business or finding love, that idea that if I don't believe it, my actions aren't going to make a difference.
Yeah, definitely.
A lot of people don't realize that they're getting the body that they want right now on some level. And even if consciously they think, I really don't like this body. When I look at it, I want to make the changes. I want to feel healthier. Unconsciously, there's a part that says, yeah, this is what I want. This is really what I want. And I also think, too, that with any type of fitness, you have to make yourself a little uncomfortable. And I think a lot of people just want to stay in their comfort zone, that it's too hard to lose weight. It's too hard to go to the gym. It's too hard to resist sugar or overeating, that second portion. And so how would you work with someone about overcoming those things?
Well, you have such a great point with that. Part of, I think, the problem with that is this quick fix society that we live in, these diet pills, these, whatever kind of program, blast fat and this and that. It's how I would work with someone is I would basically, you have to start really with the mind. You can do the exercise at the same time or do the diet, whatever path you want to choose in order to physically take the action to lose the weight is great. But I would have to start first with what they're coming to the table with. Like, what are these assumptions that they've made that if I don't ask, then I would never know. And they, they're coming to it and I don't even realize it's going on in their mind. Well, if I don't know that, then, how can I really help them other than, do this? But chances are they've heard how to, to do a squat or to walk around the block a few times a day, et cetera. So to start there, I think is it's important.
I see a lot of, like fitness people, it's all about motivation. It's all about just get out there, do it, watch your thinking, think positive. And one of the things that you're training in and you've trained in through our leadership program is the shadow. And that shadow is that unconscious part of us that we don't want to really, our ego won't let us express because there's something very uncomfortable about it. And a lot of what I see with weight loss with the shadow is women and men don't want to be seen. They use the weight to hide They use the weight to, if they get attention, they got bad attention when they were younger, they learn to like blend in. And part of when they lose weight, and I had a client once who she lost weight and someone made a comment at like, wow, you look sexy or something. And she gained the weight right back. It was like, oh, and so we don't know what those unconscious fears are about having that amazing body or being noticed. I just see that it's so common, and in this work, you know it, but for the general public, they don't realize that there's this other part of us that's running our life. Those are the things you help people with, finding out what's in their shadow.
Yeah, doing the shadow work is amazing. It just changes your entire perspective. Mm-hmm. Your whole life view is just, I can tell you right now, I just do not see through the same eyes.
Yeah, it's and then I think with your type of training and your work as a coach, with mind and the body, you're going to have faster results. You're going to have, it's going to feel less stress and struggle. It'll free your mind. And I think the most important thing that everyone should know is that if you don't get to the mind, you're going to go back on these crash diets your whole life. And imagine being free forever of this unconscious problem that's happening and that you're not aware of, that's creating you on those roller coaster weight loss and weight gain cycles. Yeah,
it really is. It's such a game changer because those crash diets, they wreck everything. Mm-hmm. They ruin your family life, your social life, your mental space. It's too much. It's like too much pressure. And you don't really, like you just said, you don't even know what's going on behind the scenes. So you can do that for a little while and that's fine. But sooner or later, your ego is going to come right in and just like totally ruin everything you've just done. So it's kind of pointless, really.
And you suffer for 8 weeks and then you're back where you are again. So I have a question to ask you, a professional question about the keto diet is famous now, intermittent fasting, the paleo diet. Like, what do you think of all those diets? And do you recommend any? Is it based on a person, a certain type of person that needs to do certain things?
I tell you that I do not recommend any of those. And I think that it's very important, especially for women, to understand that a lot of these diets are based on men, and women from a biological standpoint are different. And then also, specifically speaking of, keto is just like, it's kind of like the Atkins diet. Every so often they come in and they switch things up. It's like a marketing thing and really get a lot of people excited about it. And the thing is that it works, but I am not a fan of cutting out, for instance, like carbohydrates, like completely cutting out. Our brain is fueled on carbohydrates. There's a reason that you have these cravings for, junk food, that's a whole separate thing because of like preservatives and stuff. But in terms of like this diet, you must do it. No, I would never, I do not stand for that. But I do think that there are ways that you can for sure modify or completely, if you want, to completely change what you're doing. But I really do not recommend going in and just bulldozing everything you've ever done. It really needs to be step by step and a slow, gentle. It has to be a gentle approach. It just does.
For me, it's the lifestyle change. Like I used to do crash dieting when I was in my 20s. When you're going to the clubs and you're like, oh, I gained 5 pounds. Let me just starve myself all week, lose the weight. And it's easy to do in your 20s. It just goes away. But I always felt miserable. I used to feel, when I first, I wasn't overweight at all, but if I would be so concerned about my weight, I weighed myself like 4 times a day and I was obsessed with staying under a certain number. And I just remember thinking, I just wish, do I have to live the rest of my life monitoring my food and looking at that scale and feeling bad about myself every single day. And now I look back and I'm like, oh my God, I would love to have that weight I had in my 20s. I'd be like skinny mini, but at the time you think, oh my God, I'm not like 110 like my friend who's 5 foot tall. And so we have this kind of misperception of what looks good, and then we get consumed with this. And I think the benefit of someone like you is to help people really love their bodies, help people love the process of just being healthy. And then I think we have in a deeper part of ourselves, really a true kind of a true essence of the model of the template, the archetype of the perfect body that's in us already. And the ego is just kind of interfering with that. And if we can just bring that out, and then we would naturally just stop eating when we needed to. We would be drawn to foods that were good for our body and nourish ourselves. But I think people are so separated right now. They're rushing around, getting fast food, going a mile a minute, and food is sometimes a way to soothe themselves, and it serves other purposes than just kind of keeping you alive. And I just think it's so important to work with the mind. And I have so much background in all these areas. And what I love is that I don't have time to do a lot of, weight loss, marketing and change our business and do all these areas. So it's so great to be able to help train people in the Jungian model, and then also have you spread the love to people that really need it. And you're the expert in this area. I just think it's really, it just warms my heart, because it's like, someone's got to help these people, and it's really, it's all up to you. It's on your shoulders.
Right. No pressure.
So do you work with people just in person in New York City, or are you able to coach people online or over the phone?
I definitely do not work exclusively in person. If a lot of my clients are here in Manhattan, and so yes, I do work with them one-on-one, but I train via the internet. So like a Skype or a FaceTime training session. That's a big thing now. A lot of trainers are moving to that. And, it's a great way to work with, cause I work exclusively with women. So that's a great way to, especially everyone's schedule is different. So it's a great way to reach as many people as possible, without commuting and all of that.
Oh, that's awesome. When I first moved to Santa Monica, Rob joined this gym and he's like, you should go with me. And I talked to the guy. I said, do you have any personal trainers? And he said, yeah. And he pointed to the guy. He looked like The Rock, Wayne Johnson. He's just this big muscle. I'm like, he's not going to know how to train me. Like, he's going to have me look like I was like, no, this is not for me. But so I think it's for a woman. I had actually, when I was in Denver, I had a personal trainer that was a woman, and she gave me the exercises, and I got in the best shape, just following just a simple diet, not, cutting out some things, but not anything crazy. And, it really works if you get the right person. I think when I don't have someone guiding me, and I try to go to the gym and kind of make up my own routine, nothing happens, because you're not really pushing yourself like you would if you had someone like you that's accountable and also working on the mindset.
Definitely. And then also a lot of people will just go in and, it's okay to create your own programs, but if you don't know about program design, you can either, first of all, you might be setting up yourself on a not so great foundation if you're not balancing muscle groups. That's very important. And then also, proper progression. So you're not overtraining one area, making yourself more susceptible to injury. And also, like you said, definitely pushing yourself. Because a lot of the time people will come in with either preconceived notions. I don't want to do that. That might hurt my back. And just, it's very important to educate, not only, the mind stuff, of course, but also form. It can't really be overstated. Just it's so important.
Especially with back injuries and leg injuries, you don't know what you're doing. And I've hurt myself many times trying to do it myself. Oh yeah, so many people do. And then you hear the horror stories about trainers who don't know anything about
proper form or I mean, it's kind of like, you really have to, a lot of it is you have to choose a trainer that someone that you resonate with, that you feel called to work with, because I mean, you have to want to go and work with this person. Like, I can't imagine if I had a coach that I didn't like. I mean, I love you guys. Y'all are amazing, but you have to like the person, but also you have to make sure that the person has an idea of what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. That's a really good point, because when I first started kind of joining gyms, you go to like a 24-hour fitness or something, and then they give you their kind of trainee. You get a personal trainer, and most of the time they're just kind of right out of school and they're young. Mm-hmm. They don't really know, they don't have the experience, and they're really not invested in you. And you fill out a form and they're just like, okay. And they give you like their typical workout, probably they learned in fitness school. And of course those are a lot less expensive. And I always say that if this is important to you, if this is a priority for you, you should invest in the best. Why you're going to waste more time and money on someone who's not an expert, and you're not going to get the results if you try to get the cheapest option. And it's not to say that you have to spend $1 million, but you want to have, I think a lot of times people are, thinking, am I worth it? What would you say to someone who is like worried about, how much to invest in their own personal health?
Wow, that's a good question. I think I would ask, well, how long have you been doing whatever it is that you're doing, and what has it gotten you, and how, what level of commitment do you have to changing your results? Mm-hmm. That's never an easy question. It's super hard, but I think if there is someone that you believe can actually make the change for you, because I mean, if you look at even personal development, okay, well, I've read books, I've done all this stuff, but there was something, I knew that I would get transformation with you guys. That was, it was so clear to me. And I started small, and that's okay. Someone can do a session or two. They don't necessarily have to go for the big bang, like a year-long program. But once they get to see what it is that you can offer, I think that it does, a little bit, you have to kind of like shop around maybe, but it's important to look at, okay, where am I, and how much longer do I want to suffer, essentially?
I think also too, a lot of people that go for cheaper options, or, just kind of like the free trainer that you get at when you sign up for your $20 a month gym membership, or $50, what it is now. And you kind of like think, well, I got it taken care of. It's like how, I think it's also an unconscious, rejection of the result, that you want to kind of really going for because you're really not on some level, not that serious. And then you could say, see, I tried that personal trainer. I went on a diet and it didn't change. So I'm just going to stay this weight forever. And you give up. It's kind of like, also like when people think about dating, they give up on dating. I don't do online dating anymore because it just doesn't work. Well, it works for a lot of people. If you have the right mindset, anything will work. So, the trainers in the gyms aren't going to give you the mindset like someone like you. And actually, you're the only Jungian life coach that has personal training. So you're a category of one, Julia. They get it great. So, what is one thing you learned about doing this work on yourself in the Jungian model of coaching that would inspire our listeners?
Well, I think this is probably the hardest for most people, but I would say that it took me a while to wrap my mind around this, but through the obstacle is where the treasure is. Mm. So in life, and this is also, it's also applicable to health and fitness, we try to walk around, we try to just, navigate around the obstacle, but through going through the obstacle is where the transformation takes place. And it just feels so amazing when you have that aha about what you've been doing and why given you the results. And it's almost like magic. Like you just feel, I mean, it takes work, but you just through the obstacle. It's amazing. You have to be brave enough to go there though. And it's sometimes hard.
And you know what, I think that, the surprise that people will get through working with you, which we get all the time, is you really, it's a serendipitous type of result you get, because you go really to lose weight or to get in shape and, get your mind around your health. But they're probably going to get, which most of our clients get, a lot more. Like some of them have found love or, started a new career, like you came for love, and then you were inspired to change, really go for your career, the thing that you love. So when they come to coach with you, they're going to get a lot more than they bargained for, and in a good way.
Yes, it's so rewarding. It really is.
So this was such a great conversation. I could talk to you forever. People want to find out a little bit more about you and where they can find you. So how people get in touch with you? What is your website?
My website is mindtosize.com. And I also have a Facebook page and a group, a Mind to Size group. It's exclusive to women, but it's really great because every day I share a little tip about either working with your mind or fitness or bringing the two together. And it's a fun community where people interact and they share what's been going on for them, and collectively we all kind of come together, and it's a really fun experience. So please join my group and check out my webpage.
And the webpage is http mind.to size, but there's a dash. I just want to make sure people get it. It's mind.to-size.com.
Yes.
And Julia Broome, thank you so much for joining us and blessing us with your wisdom today. It's been a great conversation.
Yes, thank you. It was a lot of fun.
Take care.
You too.
You've been listening to the Debi and Dr. Rob Show. To find out more about us, you can visit us on our website at debiandrob.com. Also, please don't forget to subscribe to us on iTunes or Google Play. We'd love to see you on every show, and thank you so much for joining us. And we hope you remember to believe in your biggest dreams.